Hello everybody, welcome back to the Center for Off-Road Research, Shenanigans, and Science. And it has been a little while since I made a video about 124 stuff, but that is because I haven't had anything of real value to say, and I'm not going to make videos just to make videos, just to have content if it's not valuable. So what I'm doing today is I have replaced my mudslingers with the new Injora tires, and these are, let me see what it says on the sidewall here, I can't remember, but they're the rock tread ones, and they're really good. I haven't really tested them so far very much, but I have done one thing with them. I'm going to call them a small tire, but they are on the big side of the small tire scale. But as you can see, it's not as big as a scrambler or a mudslinger in this case. Little guy Trail Kings are just, in my opinion, not worth ever putting on a vehicle. Not to say they don't make other good stuff. I just don't like them on my cars, on my course. If you like them, great. But anyway, I have done a minor testing. I try to get out to Red Rock later on tonight and do some tire comparisons. But I'm kind of abandoning big tires altogether. Unless you have an extended wheelbase rig, a big tire just doesn't make sense. With a regular 124 that's not a Gladiator or an extended wheelbase, I feel like the small tire cars do a better job. You don't need a whole lot of frame clearance for the stock wheelbase. It's already plenty. It works great. I found that out with the RB1, and it sits much lower than this, about a centimeter lower, and it gets over most things just fine. But in the limited time that I've run these, it is a lot more stable. I can side hill over paths that this truck previously could not side hill over, and it's just because it was sitting up on the equivalent of tires that are stilts, and it just put the center of gravity too high. And I'll try to get these right in the center so you can see the difference. But these tires are kind of the mudslinger killer, in my opinion. They will make your truck be a lot more stable, and I'll just prove that with a run that I previously couldn't do because the tire was too tall. It has nothing to do with the truck itself, but I'll just show you that real quick, and later on tonight I'll try to get a test out outside at Red Rock between Patagonias, which I think are still probably the kings. We'll find that out. I don't know, but they've been the standard forever. I have pit bulls, I have these new Injora tires, and I also have the Proline Hyrax. So I'm going to just try to find a place that progressively gets steeper. I'm going to use different rigs for it, but we'll get to that. But as long as it's not tipping over backwards, the chassis has center of gravity to contain the grip of the tire. So I'm going to find out which tire grips the hardest on natural rock later tonight, hopefully. But I'm just going to do a quick run down on the side of this to show you that it does side hill tremendously better, and it hasn't given up that much ground clearance. If you look at where the center of the wheel, the lug nut is, it's not that much lower. I'd say a couple millimeters. So you're not giving up that much, but it plants the thing tremendously. In fairness, I took off the metal weights on these and did not use the metal hexes because these are SSD rims, and they have those screws on the back side that won't allow the weight to seat fully into the hex. So if you're going to use SSD rims, just pull the weights off and go back to your plastic. These wheels here are actually heavier than this with the weight because these have a brass ring inside, and the weight here is no longer necessary. So you get a more stock look. It's a little cleaner. If you're into scale, that's cool. You might like that. They're a good looking wheel too. I really like SSD, but you cannot run these weights because when you try to stick it into the dish, it'll hit those screws and it'll never seat. But here goes a run down the side just to show you that In previous videos, this truck could not do it. It can now, and I'll show you that real quick before the end of the video. Here's another thing I like about small tires. You get better torque out of them, and that is just a function of what happens when you have less distance between the ground and the axle. And in previous attempts, this truck with those gigantic tires was not able to do that. And it wasn't the fault of the chassis. It's the fact that the tires were so tall, it just tipped the thing over. But that's a run in both directions, no problem. I think I might have to take this out and try the wall with it. The RB1 did a great job with it. You've seen that in a previous video, but with the small tire, I think the V3 is going to be right there. Anywhere that needs ground clearance, this is going to beat the RB1 just because it sits a little higher. I think the RB1 still has the better climb performance because it sits a little lower. But I think these are my two best rigs, and the E1 Super is good if you need to have a long wheelbase, and that does have a big tire on it. But I don't have any short wheelbase cars other than my Next Racing NX276, and it does not perform well on the Mudslinger. So if you ask me, Mudslingers and Scramblers are dead unless you have a long wheelbase vehicle that maybe even is widened. Then it's appropriate because you're essentially increasing the scale. So on normal 124 scale vehicles, I feel like any of those 4 tires I mentioned, these Injoras, the Patagonias, the Hyrax, or the Pitbulls, are completely adequate and actually better from a center of gravity standpoint when it comes to climbing and side hilling. That's all for tonight. I can't believe that, or for this video anyway, I can't believe I'm saying that Mudslingers are dead, but if you have a stock length vehicle, they're not going to perform the same way a slightly smaller tire will.